First of all, I would like to read an email that I sent to OSBA ODE to Stephen Mitchell at Malheur Enterprise, to Elizabeth Miller at Oregon Public Broadcasting, and to the editor of the Argus Observer, so they knew, what was going on. And I also wanted to put it in our local about town, but they've never called me back. Anyway, I'd like to read it. The Nissa School District Board of Directors and Dr. Darren Johnson signed an agreement of separation effective Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. Both parties feel that this will allow the district to move forward. During this period of transition, day-to-day operations of the district will be under the leadership of Assistant Superintendent Ryan Hawkins, who will maintain close communication with the board. The board will meet in a planning session on Thursday, July 20th, 2023. I just wanted, people to know, especially OSBA and ODE.
And you also let Jolie Patterson know? No, because we got that email from Jolie Patterson.
I will let them know.
Oh,
I have to. Yes.
We got an email.
Right. The other thing I would like to just talk about from the board chairperson's perspective is it's been brought to my attention that the Nissa School District has received several notifications for public records requests and or public record searches. There are legal requirements associated with these public records. In the district's effort to comply with these requirements, errors have inadvertently been made, and these have caused emotional distress to some of our staff members. I became board chairperson 10 days ago, and after learning about some of these circumstances, I chose to speak or attempted to speak to individuals who have felt harassed and or emotionally distressed because of these record releases or public record requests. I have spoken to our attorney, and as we move forward, we will do better. At this moment, however, I would like to apologize to our staff members on behalf of myself and the district. As I said, as we move forward, we will do better. Thank you. I would now entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second? It has been moved by Maribel and seconded by Susie to adopt the agenda as presented. All those in favor? Okay. Our business today is our board goals and district goals. Would we like to do a little discussion, or would we like to take a recess and at this juncture?
We just got started.
Okay.
Let's
have a
talk.
discussion.
Talk.
Talk for a little bit.
Okay. One of the things that lies ahead of us is we are going to need to make a decision about a superintendent or about how we search for our next leader. So I know that there are, I believe that OSBA has a group that can help us with this search. I will also tell you that we received today an letter of inquiry from the former superintendent of the New Plymouth School District.
And then I had some concerns about that.
Are we talking for the position of superintendent
We're
or for
talking
interim?
interim. So I would just, like to put that out there that we did receive.
I think if we're gonna talk about any names or concerns, that was probably what the
Yes,
executive session is for.
I agree. So anyway, do we have any other, do we put it out on, I don't know, is there a search?
We can, advertise, I know OSBA has some, there are some former ones that are interested, there's some current ones that are interested, we just have to decide which direction we want to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if there's any interest that's been specifically expressed, we just ask them for their CV and a letter of interest, and then why not post it to SBA?
I do feel probably we need to do it as quickly as possible.
Yes.
With school starting, we need to know who everybody's looking for leadership, but quickly and cautiously as possible, I guess I should say, and then proceed with finding the superintendent over time. Take our time to find the right fit.
Yeah, I hope we have an interim for like
A
a
year.
year, and then
I would say,
next spring, we can open it up and take our time, going through applications and make sure we have somebody by July 1st in the year, so.
I would say even by, like November, December, because that's when most of them are looking at
Yeah, but they
renewing
probably wouldn't
contracts
start
or,
till-
right, correct.
That's what I mean. But I don't want to be in any hurry, I want to really take
No,
our time.
yeah, we need to get a lot of input.
Yes, and I would recommend that we definitely involve our staff, our students, and our community, as well as the board in a search. Because we want a good fit, and we want a leader that we feel has the vision to lead us forward. A lot of things have changed since I graduated from high school and since all of you graduated from high school. There have been a lot of changes. And I am fully aware that there are a lot of our students who know how to use artificial intelligence and, a lot of these things that are just on the horizon, that are brand new. They're just words to us. So we need to think forward that way. So, Kim, you would suggest we utilize any method of searching, or, we have all, I hate to say this, but we have all been contacted by different individuals with different thoughts on how we should go, so. And that, I probably would suggest that we, discuss or consider in, executive session. There is an ORS 192.660 subsection 2 subsection A to consider the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent. And I think that's where we should probably get down to some of the particulars if we need to. So, yes, yes.
Out of curiosity, if we're going to post something to OSBA, surely they don't expect us just to say, we're looking for a superintendent. Do we have any sort of format from prior superintendent searches that says, this is a contemplated salary range, this is the size of the school. Is that what they're looking for, or is it just a posting superintendent wanted?
We probably still have the, somewhere, the posting from before, yes,
There's a whole process, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We can look back to
And
see.
generally,
everything.
probably, what we'll end up doing is, if you want all of your applications in by the end of January, you post it the end of November, and give them time, and then,
So this is for the permanent one, we're not talking
Yes.
about the interim.
yes. But it would be nice to find out if there is some way to get that word out, that, hey, we are going to be accepting applications this winter, for this position, just so that people are aware of it.
So how do we post for the interim?
I don't know, for the interim,
I know they have, OSBA has some, they're mostly like retired superintendents. who-
yes,
Be willing to
OSBA has
serve.
a group of people that are willing to do that. You can put it out locally, there are several, local people that
Are interested.
may be interested, even a few ex-superintendents around here. But, yeah, just get that word out. I think what we need to do is decide,
Who's interested
When?
and then how, give them a certain amount of time.
yeah, and, you know, when do we want them to notify us by? But,
Go ahead.
I don't know if there's rules, can I? Just because I'm financial numbers, I have written down some notes that I just want the board to think about as you are moving forward in the direction of our district. So, as we know, we have expended the superintendent budget for the year. That's gone. And so, we do have a contingency fund in our budget. However, remember, as we have had our previous audits, our auditors have always suggested we have a minimum, bare minimum of 2 months worth of money in our reserve. And that's pretty much our contingency fund now. So as we are thinking about the direction we're headed and the money we're spending, we're probably starting to spend that contingency, which scares me a little bit. So I just wanted the board to remember that part, since I'm a number person.
Thank you, Crystal. We appreciate the reminder.
And we appreciate your hard work on the audit this week.
Thank you.
Yes.
are you done?
Phase 1. There's another phase.
And I will tell you, I went in and Crystal introduced me to the auditors, you know, and it was just basically a handshake, you know, how are you? And one of them said, oh, do you have an auditing team on your board? And I said, no. So that is, you know, something that Crystal, we would like you to give us a little direction on that. And Megan, if that is at other, you know, institutions where that happens, where there is like an auditing group, a subcommittee, or, you know, so.
I can look into it. I think it might happen at really large schools, like say Portland Public, but maybe that's something we're interested in looking at. I'll look into it.
Yeah, I will tell you, I talked to a board member from a Washington DC area school, and she said their budget was $1.2 billion.
It might be,
Of course, I mean, you know, it's not Nissa, Oregon there, but, you know, I just, wow.
so as far as board goals here, what are we looking for? I mean, what,
Well, you know, before we set district goals, we had set district goals as CTE,
right?
the dual language, and one other. Was it, did it have to do with, I can't remember, and I didn't look those up. But I know- Pardon me?
Social emotional learning?
Yes, that was it. And as we think about those were great district goals, and I don't think that we met them. So I do have a lot of concerns about our CTE program. I would like to see it bigger and better, because I know that not all of our kids want to go to a four-year school, and I'm not in the schools. I don't have kids in the schools, so I don't know if CTE is presented to kids. I mean, if they see that a job as an electrician or a career as an electrician, or a career, you know, as you know, a pharmacy tech or anything like that, that those things are available. So, you know, I don't know. You all have kids in the school district. You know, probably a lot more aware of that than I am. But, you know, I still think that CTE should be one of our district goals, and I would like to have it as one of our board goals.
So are we basically brainstorming ideas and then picking some goals that we want to focus on?
Yes, I
Going
think that would be a good idea if we did a little brainstorming and, you know, could come up with some things.
I think as far as, I think it would be a good idea for us to come up with separately board goals and district goals, and I think the district goals, we need feedback from, you know,
Yes.
our administrators and
Definitely.
get some ideas from them. But as far as board goals, one thing, and I don't like more meetings than what are necessary, but when I first was on the board, we had some instruction from, I think it was Steve Kelly,
Yes.
and that was useful. That was useful kind of as to what's the board's role versus, you know, the superintendent's role, and where often some of those lines get crossed. I don't think as a board goal, it would be a bad thing to get some instruction. This is a pretty young board.
Yeah.
We're the longest ones on here, and it's only been 4 years.
Yes.
So, I think it would be good to get in contact with us, maybe get some instruction for ourselves.
And they did it on Zoom.
Yes, they did, because,
And that was,
that was before,
yeah.
but yes, part of it was in person and part of it was over Zoom.
And as I recall, it was very helpful. It, you know, when you get on a board, especially a school board, a lot of times you think you can change the whole direction of the school district. And
It's not our job.
that's not our job. And we need to recognize that, and yes, I think it would be excellent for us to get some board training.
We are going to board training next month.
That is, yes, we will get some training there, but the board training that Jeremy was alluding to, it actually, yeah, it was for all of us, and it actually, you know, because we have a unique district, we were able to actually ask questions from our perspective here in Eastern Oregon, you know, which was, I thought, very helpful. But, I think it would be a good idea for us to check
Well,
into that and see.
Yeah, and it was nice because it was personal. It
Yes.
was, you let us ask questions and answer type of deal. It wasn't just a sit down and listen type of thing.
Right, it was quite interactive. So. under board goals, like, you know, one of our big things, I think, is the leadership. And, you know, we've already talked about that. We need to, you know, we need to check to see what we, or decide what we want to do as far as interim. And, you know, launch a search, how to properly launch a search. So, and I think we need to be aware of some of the qualities that we are looking for in a superintendent. So, so, anyone else have anything about board goals?
Megan, what do you think about this, some sped goals?
Well, we could even refer to it as the special populations, talking about, I went to a professional development, identifying tech students. It's actually really informative. But I think, focusing on the special populations of the EL, SPED, CAD, I think that is something that we can do a better job of, supporting.
Yes, I've long been concerned that our tag students don't get enough attention. I kind of think that sometimes we just figure that they will take care of themselves.
So how do we go about, or what would be the best method of communicating with the other administrators and coming up with the district goals? Because honestly, you know, Mr. Jackman, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Pratt, they're gonna know better district goals than what direction they think we need to head. What would be the best method, I guess, in moving forward with that?
So at the beginning of each school year, we have an admin retreat for 2 years, thank goodness, that's 2 years, 2 days, right here, where our whole team is together, and that's a topic of discussion as far as where are we going, where are we going, what are our outcomes in each building level, what are we doing to be part of the district goals. And so definitely, that can definitely be part of it.
And that's what I
I
figured.
can't remember, was it 3 years ago, Pat, you made reference to it, but there was quite a process, sorry, Jeremy. There was quite a process, to come up with some focus areas, and then it was froze. And as administrators, we kept heading back to that meeting, it's like, okay, we identified these areas. What's the expectation? What am I supposed to be doing with this? And I'll look into that. And, you know, I'm just talking openly. And so that process was I thought at the time, a good solid process. And I don't know if that represents the highest need in these areas or not. But, definitely through our admin retreat, it can be a topic of discussion. You hit the core. You know, continuing to develop CC, it's the strength of our districts, it's what works. When they look at the average graduation rate across the state, it's like 12% higher for students in CC classes. It's the one thing that's working post-COVID. SEL, gotta have it. Dual language, possible extreme strength of our districts, and no one else is gonna be better prepared to have bilingual students. And then, of course, the student supports, and we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to do that because of the state's requiring us. They're looking at our yellow program, they're looking at my group program, they're looking at each one of those SPED. And so that's gotta be a focus area, but we wanna be ahead of the game. When they come looking, we want people to find what they, that we are excelling, we're going above and beyond. have to do the required changes their way because they're seeing us not in compliance. And so, yeah, and they just, as we're looking for superintendents, there's gotta be vision. You know, I mean, they've gotta, you gotta have some positive energy, someone who can light a fire in the rest of the district to keep us moving forward. But unfortunately, and it, you know, and it's not just one person, it's a lot of dynamics, but with COVID, we slid back into survival crisis mode. And we're still emerging out of that. And we really can't wait, because this has to be our year to start thriving instead of just surviving. So, now having said that, I don't wanna paint a real bleak picture either. We have increased our graduation rate every year that I've been here. We have increased our attendance rates in spite of COVID every year I've been here. But because of the setbacks, it's not where we need it.
I was gonna kind of piggyback on that one. We have district goals focusing on our CTE and graduation. That puts a lot of burden on high school, but I think we need to be also looking at it working backwards, like what can the elementary do to be boosting that for when they get to you? What can the middle school do to get that boost when they get to you? How can we support those programs, making sure they have those skills?
K-12 alignment. And we know, you know, we talked to our, Matt, new elementary principal, kindergarten readiness is huge. They're coming to us behind. But that's way out of my expertise, but how do we do that? How do we?
Because there's only preschool for a certain group of, you have to be low income or migrant, and other than that, there's no preschool in town.
But, you know, and it seems like the high school's visible enough that a lot of times the resources drift to the CT, which I love, absolutely love, not complaining. Our first through third grade is just as critical.
So do we have like a state of the district report that would address these things that I can read? Is this something that we can have somebody in the know come and address the board and say, here's where our metrics on, here's where we need help from the board, where the board wants support? I mean, I guess that's what I would need to know to set in goals is, where are we right now?
And your interim superintendent working with us, put that together in reports. And then also as part of that, identifying specific outcomes that we are gonna monitor all year long. And I'm guilty, just guilty as any school leader, but it's, if you don't have, if you're not looking at what moves the dial, if you're not looking at the outcomes, then there's not the consistent focus to bring about change. There's so many things demanding our time that I'm trying to hit all these targets. But if you really, you gotta narrow it, and you gotta identify your outcome, and if our outcome is gonna be attendance, which is next year, well, I'm planning on it, but we will. We've gotta make sure it's a consistent approach that we're monitoring, and it's extremely helpful. It's extremely helpful if superintendents sitting down and saying, okay, your outcome was attendance, last month you're at 70%, where are you at? What's working, what's not? How do we support this? And that, you know, just so that, and then doing that at each level, so that the whole district's moving towards those goals.
Jacoby, you had a comment?
Mr. Martinson had mentioned that he was wondering if there was like a report that let him know where you guys are. And I do have last year's state report cards that puts our school and our district and compares it to where the state is at, what the state averages are, so we know where we are as far as math scores, reading scores, our attendance. In addition to, I think, CTE as well. And so I have all of that, should you want to look at it, or any of you want to look at that.
It's on your website.
Yeah.
I'm trying to link, but it might be broken when people look at that, but it is on the website.
it's kind of hard to find on here, but it is on there, it's kind of in like little pie
Yeah.
chart stuff.
Yeah, and I am reporting those, or I am, you mentioned the district goals and all of that, and during the admin retreat, going to be presenting those, because every year I have to get those from the admin for our state report card. I have to report them in September, and so I will be presenting what we presented to the state last year to them, so that we can work on district building goals and all of that for next year, for this year's report card, so.
But I really like the idea of the superintendent meeting with the principals each month and saying, okay, where are you at on attendance, where are you at on the, each goal, where are you at? Cause like, I think ours was, one of ours was the dual language last year, but did we ever do anything with it?
Well, we did do a K-12, and find the program, and this is students all.
But not monthly and say, okay, they're getting better, they're getting worse, this is what we need to do. That's what we need, is.
I just emailed you.
We have the vision and accountability, this is where we wanna be by the end of the year. You know,
And there's no status quo. You're moving forward, you're falling back. You gotta have the momentum. So both your short-term interim and your long-term superintendents, they've gotta be fired up. They've gotta have positive energy, and they've gotta create that momentum to pull people along. When the water's stagnant, everything seems to the bottom. And it's just, I think of all the drama and all the, the fires I'm putting it out, it's like, okay, if we're moving in the right direction, we're going fast enough. Those are the issues. And of course, that's hard to do. I mean, there's a reason I never want to be superintendent. That is a hard job. And you need to find the right person. I have an opinion on that, but, well.
So you guys probably come up with your own goals for each building at the beginning of the year. Is there any way I could get a copy of those goals? It's not my place to hold you accountable, that's somebody else's job, but just as a point of knowing, so that when you're talking to us about stuff, I kind of know, hey, this lines up with this goal, and he's progressing.
And what that does is it puts us all on the same page. That's a good thing.
That's very good.
It'd just be nice to know what your goals are, so that if we can, we can.
And each principal knows that, and like we said, we have the state report cards, we have the information that's given to the state. But yeah, and mine's simple, it's 90% attendance, it's 95% or above graduation rates, and, I think 85% are on track. Those are the outcomes that we're just.
Sounds simple, right?
But it sounds simple, but to get there, I mean, there's all kinds of initiatives and strategies and tiered intervention systems that go behind just that attendance piece.
So as a board goal, we wanna have a situation where the interim superintendent or the new superintendent addresses
each one of the goals.
each one of the goals at a monthly board meeting, maybe it's every other month, and said, I sat down with the various principals, here are their goals, and here's where they're trending. I think that would help the interim superintendent always be forced to always be up to date on what the goals are and where it needs to go.
Know what our expectations are.
Right,
And
and
he does,
maybe a recommendation on how the board can help.
and there is that superintendent's report, I think it could be used to cover more areas. I mean, I personally would like to see, which I've asked Jacoby, what are our homeless children, our McKinney-Vento children? Is that number going up every month? Is it going down every month? How are we supporting those children and families? I would like to see if there's a trend, like certain months out of the year. Is it more? Is it less? I mean, how are we supporting those children? Same with the goals, the CTE. I think the superintendent report should be able to touch on a lot more than what it has been.
Well, and I think along with that, as our goal, I think our goal should be that we are aware of their goals. Just like I say, so that we can help them, so that we are aware of their progression when it's made, and it's like, hey, good job, let's go. But, like I said, or step bounds, I just wanna assist where we can.
And support them.
Yes. That's
But in order
support.
to support and assist, we have to have the knowledge of what the goal is and what's out there.
So a lot of boards, they have a yearly calendar and the board sits down and looks at, okay, this month we want an athletic, update, this month we want a SPED update, this month we want an EL update. So they mark it for the whole year, they know in 3 months you have this time to set your goals and really try and attain those, and then we're gonna check up on it. And then the next month it's something different, so that might be something. I have some examples from a lot of the different boards that I can give to you guys to kind of see if you
I
guys
like
want.
that idea.
Yeah.
Is this our calendar? Could we write it on there?
Yep.
Or is that something somebody
If
else's?
you wanna change all the numbers,
I don't know what this last, so.
Well, it's Jana, that's
It's
yours.
yours. Use it.
I mean, you know, we could say, okay, October, right across the top, SPED goals. November, CTE goals or whatever.
I like that
Yeah,
idea.
that's an excellent idea.
Because then also the organizations know their month is coming up and they can be prepared to tell us
And
what's
people
going
that
on.
come to a board meeting can see that, and if they're interested in something specific, they can make sure they're at the board meeting.
Well, it kind of gives them a chance to brag a little bit too, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it's nice to go in and say, this is going good, this is what we're doing to attain our goal.
If you're not in a bragging position, you'll get there.
You know it's coming, right?
And just to piggyback off of what Susie just mentioned, giving opportunities for those either staff, the teachers or the parents to come in. But the parents I've talked to, staff sometimes that I've talked to, they don't even know that they can come to board meetings. They don't know that they can request to speak to whoever's present and the board. They don't know that. So I think part of our wanting to expand on that communication is informing them that they have every right to be here. It's not closed session every second Monday of the month.
Yes, and we really need to involve our families more, our parents. That is one of the things that I think we've fallen down on. As you said, we don't have that communication.
One thing that, when we did our deal with OSBA is they helped us. They took all these ideas, like what we're talking about today,
Yes.
and they helped us kind of bring them down and narrow it down and say, okay, these are your goals. And, we're throwing out a lot of ideas right now. We've come up with like 10 different goals so far.
Mhm.
But they helped us organize them, our thoughts, I guess.
Right, it was interesting, they used Post-it notes,
Yeah.
remember that?
Mr. Jennifer, can I ask a question about the text messages, the push notifications that get sent out, or however it works? Is that like a program that you have access to? Is there a way that we can have like a community one, like maybe they don't have students in their school? Is that something? Because I know we have a lot of community members that want to know things, they just don't have access to it.
That was my suggestion in social media, like, are we using that at all here?
Most of our posts go out to the Facebook,
Yes.
we don't use Twitter or Instagram.
I haven't seen it myself.
And then most of us have, apps downloaded on our phone, that's the school app that gets pushed out. So for the distribution list that you're talking about, we have one that goes to all parents
Right.
of students, but we get into trouble if we just blanket send everything out without someone acknowledging or accepting it, because if we're sending stuff to people who don't want it, we get into trouble.
Right, I just wondered if there's a place they could say, I'm interested in getting community updates from the district, and they.
We can make a form, and we can have people who want.
Put it on Facebook maybe, or.
Yeah, they can put their contact information in there, we can put it on our list, and it can be just.
There are a lot of people that wanna know, like, when the sports games are,
Yeah.
or
I was a community member and I downloaded the app, but I don't have a student, would I get those notifications?
Yeah, you just mark which school.
So maybe we need to push the app.
That's what we need to do.
Instead of, let's get a form and.
Cause everything's on the app. It doesn't
It's all
access
there.
it.
Maybe we just need to push advertisement of the app.
They just need to know how to access it.
There was an initial campaign when it came out, Thrillshare came out, there was an initial campaign to make sure that all people got the app, but that has been a couple of years. So,
Regardless of Android or iPhone.
that could be
Is
part of
it
a.
QR code that just, you
Yeah, or
know, all the
something.
flyers throughout town or something?
Yeah.
But I know my husband doesn't get it, and he always says, oh, where's my pocketbooks?
I don't know, that's fine.
Actually, I feel like I'm forwarding messages all the time. I know you feel like this is more often.
That's very true, because I don't get it.
I just figured out how to forward stuff. But I always text afterwards, did you get this? Just to make sure. I need someone like to go do that and come sit with me.
Oh, I'm the worst. I have to sit with my sister and be like, how does this work? I don't care enough to know. I don't know. Just show me.
Mom, don't you know how to do this?
Well, the app is pretty easy to use.
And she taught you how to copy and paste
What is the app? Mrs. School District. If you get in there on your phone and just search for the Mrs. School District, it'll pop up. It did, but my.
Shall we take a break before we, because I don't even know we're talking.
I think this would be a good time for us to recess, and let's see, it is what time?
Are you gonna bring up
Should we recess for what, half an hour, 20 minutes?
I still am waiting for Adam to help me download my chart so I can get my daughter's medical stuff.
Okay, we will take a.
You never brought your phone.
No, but
20-minute recess.